Hello there, my friends. How's everyone doing today? Well, I'm doing my video standing. The video title will probably be My Guru, Dolore Patientia. And you may be asking, what the hell does that mean? Who's that? Obviously, it's not a person. I wanted to make the video title Pain is my guru and patience is my teacher. Those two terms together basically mean pain and patience in Latin, and I like plays on words. Why? I don't know. It's fun. But anyhow, I'm standing because I've been in a lot of pain the last few days. I did a little too much gardening and ended up messing up my back again. And I've had sciatic pain for the past 5-6 years. And yes, I've tried everything, acupuncture and a variety of different types of, stretches. And I know that exercise works and that generally I was able to overcome it by quitting construction. But over the years, naturally you have to do a little bit of labor, a little bit of work. And so anyhow, this isn't really about that. But the humility, and if you're able to cope with being in pain, basically you're forced to cope with pain. And I was going to get into the details of how pain works in the body and the mind. I don't really want to go into that in this video. But pain itself, acute pain or short-term pain, is generally processed through the frontal cortex, and there's a gate there, let's say, and it opens and closes as necessary to let your body and your brain know you're in pain. Well, when you have chronic pain or an inflamed condition, that's what they call chronic pain, and chronic pain, in a nutshell, can cause that gate to basically wedge open. And of course these are just metaphors for how the brain operates, but once that neural pathway is open, it's very difficult to close. So some people, well after they're healed, can still be in pain. Now, this called radiculopathy is what I have. It's where basically one area of nerve is irritated by the L5 lumbar down on the lower spine, and this nerve, the sciatic nerve, is about the size of your thumb. So you can imagine it's the largest nerve in the body. It goes all the way down the back of the legs, down to the front, down to the toes. And so when you're in pain, it's not just back pain, it's leg pain. And the interesting thing is, if you can't stand, and you can't lay down, and you can't sit, then what the hell do you do? And there's not a lot you can do. You can't put pressure on it. So it becomes your teacher, because you find yourself getting frustrated, you find yourself getting easily irritated, and it's compounded with the fact that psychologically we are so connected with our pain that we fail to realize that when we are physically ill, or not feeling well, I should say when we're physically hurt, our immune system can be compromised by the way that our brains interpret or feel about the situation. In other words, it's mind over matter. And we hear this time and time again. But as for how much the brain actually has control over the body, that remains to be determined. I would like to say that after all these years of dealing with it, I've learned to cope pretty well. Now, I guess I'm only making this in a way to help others who may be in pain to realize that there's a positive side to it. It took me a long time to realize this. When I was working and making good money in construction, and then my back gave out, it was pretty much a letdown. It was like losing part of your life, losing a friend. When you lose your career, and then over time you think, well, I could get back into it. I'm feeling good, and then you go out and do a little bit of gardening, and next thing you know, you're just laid out, incapacitated. And there were times in the past where I couldn't sleep more than a few hours at a time. I'd have to get up and walk around, try to find a new position, different place to lay, a couch, a bed, whatever, floor. I bought an inversion table, went to the chiropractor, got painkillers, and around this time I found that kratom, of course, was a wonderful addition. But not even kratom, good kratom can knock this out, nor strong opioids completely. And that's the thing about pain. When you are in pain, all you want to do is feel well again. And you'll take anything to feel better. And then if you overdo it, you end up literally feeling, you end up overdoing your exercise, overdoing whatever you're doing at work, whatever it may be. If you can't feel the pain, you may damage yourself further. And that's one of the kind of catches about, say, sciatic pain, is they say to keep moving and keep exercising. But when you can't move, you can't really do anything. So I want people to realize that chronic pain is something that a lot more people have than you might think. There are a lot of people in the population who have specifically back pain or sciatic pain. In fact, out of my friend and family group, at least, a handful, I know 4 or 5 people who have sciatic episodes. It can happen from lifting or working. It can happen even when you're pregnant for women, because the baby might push on the spine, and that's usually temporary, thank God, and that's relieved. But when it's work-related, it really makes you feel almost, like you've lost something very important, especially as a working man who enjoys doing labor and getting things done, building things. The realization that I can't lift anymore. The heavy lifting has to be done in here now. And it always was kind of my passion to speak and to think about things. But, I get a satisfaction from digging up something as simple as tilling up the garden. People who have sciatic pain tend to be taller. In other words, you're more prone to have back problems. Any height over 5'8", it gradually gets worse. And I'm 6'2.5" actually, I think maybe 6'2", 6'3", somewhere around there. And so naturally, I've had a tendency to lean over a little bit further. I was a skateboarder when I was a kid, and I just loved it. You never have any problems with your back really when you're that young, but as you get older, you start to pay the piper. So that's about all I got. Don't want to go too long on this subject. It's just about pain. It's about overcoming your pain, whatever it takes. And I can't really give specifics because I don't know your situation. If you're a person who's in pain right now, it's kind of like this. You can sympathize, and understand where I'm coming from. But at the same time, maybe the message is, when you see people, the way we feel, the way we conduct ourselves when we're feeling sick or when we're feeling bad, physically or mentally, the way we conduct ourselves around other people, doesn't justify we can't use the justification that we're just angry and frustrated because we're sick, so therefore we're going to take it out on others, or be grumpy at work, or be grumpy to our families. And that's a very difficult thing for people to overcome. I mean, if you're feeling shitty, you're feeling shitty. So that mind-body connection, it's important that we learn to overcome it on our own, in our own way. So anyhow, let me know your thoughts, and I can relate if any of you suffer from pain. And other than that, I wish you all well. And I was going to make a completely different video when I started this, and I decided, I'll just talk about pain for a moment, and then I'll get into the real video I wanted to actually make. I wanted to see if I can make it through this one, just because that's another aspect. When you're in pain, it takes away from your normal activities, your normal behavior, the things you want to do. I make videos all the time, but when I'm feeling shitty, there's no way. I just have no interest in standing behind a camera. So we have to force ourselves to follow through on our normal routines, as best we can. So I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks for listening, and may you be pain-free, because when the times are good, they're really good. Peace.